And review of the minutes of the last meeting. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, do I get a second?
Second.
Further discussion, Mike, any questions, issues?
No, all good, Bob.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, so that's approved. And comments or concerns of any person present today? Celia Otero, did you have something you wanted to add?
It's actually Gary Gothier. Let me just,
Gary?
can you hear us?
I can, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. I was going by the name that was on the,
Yeah, I apologize for that.
that's okay.
Good morning, board. I just wanted to, again, show up here. I haven't been around in a while, but I understand that you're all going through some changes with the 2018, 2021. And I just want to offer myself up for some research, resource and research for some training and education opportunities that we may have. The thing is, I'm having difficulty getting through to anyone to see who would want to take on this type of training, due to the licensing issue or the non-mandated continuing education in the state. And I'm just not sure of the policies and only looking to add ICC as a resource to whatever it is that the board wants to take on for education and training.
Well, I think, Gary, that the board isn't so much involved with the code. And Richard, who handles the codes?
Well, adoption of codes is through the Department of Administrative Services State Building Officials Office. So that would be one spot. As far as continuing education, heating, cooling license types don't have mandatory continuing education. The plumbing and piping board and plumbing license types do have mandated continuing education.
Understandably, and I've been working with both PHCC, SE, PHCC, as well as Local 77 on that branch for the plumbing and, that type of education. I've been doing a lot with those folks. But I just wanted to, again, get that out there. And I understanding, what the board's all about. I just wanted to, again, make that offer as a resource, especially when you're doing the adoption, changing from one cycle to the next. So I just offer myself up. And again, I'll look and kind of unearth the rocks here to see where you want me to go. But if you give me direction, I would be more than willing and happy to follow through. I did offer some training up, obviously, to the PHCC group and whoever wants to listen, but I don't want to force it on anyone neither,
No,
Yeah,
I'll bring up.
As far as code adoption, again, that's through the State Building Officials Office. What's your email address?
I can put it up on the chat. I don't want to take up too much of the board's time. I just wanted to again say hello. I haven't been there in over a year with COVID and everything else, so wanted to show face this morning.
All right, not a problem, Gary. We appreciate the input, and Rich will probably be in touch with you. He knows where quite a bit of that stuff is and who's handling it, okay?
Thank you very much for your time.
Send your email address through chat and I'll grab it now.
Should be
I
there now.
just wrote it down, Richard. It's on chat, but I'm not sure if you can see that or not. I wrote it down anyway and give it to you after.
All right.
Okay, review of the complaint status report provided by the investigation division. Did you guys get that email this morning from Karen?
Yes.
For the,
Anybody have questions or inputs? Okay. Enforcement have any ideas on these things, or are you guys all set?
So for the record, Pamela Brown and Janita Hamel appearing.
Morning, girls.
Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Morning, all board members, Mr. Hurlbert and Karen.
Morning.
So these are pending resolutions that were handled, correct?
This is Janita Hamel. The three that appear on the spreadsheet, those are closed with the resolutions. If you notice for number, the last one, for number, you have to excuse me for 1 minute. 2021-203, which says pending issue, pending nature. And then if you go over to the resolution side, unfortunately, the complaint center got an email from the consumer saying, oh, no, he paid me, everything's good. You know, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I don't need to do a complaint, withdraw it. Unfortunately, they just closed the complaint. And I had to explain to them that while the consumer might be satisfied, doesn't mean that we don't have possible licensing violations and need to be reviewed and investigated. So this particular file has been reopened as a DCP complaint, that we are the complainant, and to using the work that he did at this place for us to investigate. So that's what, you know, even though the consumer is satisfied, the money and all that, that's a civil matter. If they resolve it and the consumer's happy, yay, that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, we're tasked with, are there any licensing violations based on 393 in the regulations? And that's what we look at. So that's the only quirky one there.
Okay,
Then I will say, the Heating and Cooling Board, you keep leading the charge for complaints coming in that 2-month time frame from August 1st, 2021 to July 1st, 2021 to August 31st of 2021. We closed 3 and we received 24 new complaints. Of the one that was closed, the inspector also got a $2,500 assurance of voluntary compliance as well in that matter. And for the board's knowledge, our IT group is working to create or tweak the board reports so that they will be a cumulative report where it will show all the open files starting from the first of the year coming through to now, so that it doesn't just show the open files and the closed files from that 2-month time frame. But that's coming. I don't know when. That's what we have. And Mr. Chairman and the board members, if you all have any questions, I'll answer them.
no, Janita, thank you as always. You've given us a professional report. We appreciate it. Any board members have questions?
Sir.
Okay, old business, substitute House Bill 6100. Rich, I was not at the MOU. I know it came up, and I was not able to go online. Do you have anything to add on to this thing? Or is this just in limbo for now?
And that's regarding what? during that construction, during that conversation?
Substitute House Bill number 6100.
Oh, that's the one that, well, it's in the agenda. Leslie O'Brien's looking into the rewording of contract language for a legislative change this coming session. I think Karen has that written into the agenda.
Okay. And I believe that I think all of the chairs are going to be involved in that. Is that an accurate statement?
Well, eventually, when she gets done with whatever draft she's doing to edit that public act that passed regarding, the mandatory invoice and contract language, then she will meet with all the boards.
Okay. This is not a good bill. I don't know. Did you guys see the bill?
No.
It put some very erroneous undue burdens on the contractors, and it's almost, I don't know how we would comply. It would be tough. So we've got to work through that. New business.
Who submitted the bill, Bob? Who's it coming from?
I think, Richard, it came from DCP, but some of the verbiage wasn't thought out as well as it should have been. And
Yeah. It was probably on your last meeting agenda, the actual bill.
yeah, in other words, if you send somebody out and you have a 3-day right of refusal and you're doing a service call, it has to be done right now. You've got to have the text name on it and license number. You've got to have the apprentice and his card. And, you could start a job, say the job was a 3 or 4 day job. If you change the text, you got to change the contract. It just ties you up in knots. And, some days everything's a perfect world. And then some days it's like riding a bunking bronco. You just don't know what's going on. You guys are more set up on jobs, whereas if we're, jobbing and just doing minor repairs, it gets to be interesting. On to new business, application review working group. We have been getting some very interesting applications. You've got guys that'll have a P1 and then just send in a 1-page thing requesting an S1 with no documentation, no nothing, no schooling. So we've talked a little bit. I talked to Larry Valeries about maybe putting together, because these guys don't seem to really care when they apply, some kind of a honey-do list checklist so that they're sending us in the information. And if they fail to do so, then, Karen can just send it back. Listen, you got to put this information in. And that's what has to happen. So
It sounds like they're wasting your time.
we are wasting our time now with what's coming in. So, I mean, if we can nip it in the bud, because Karen does get hammered by a lot of these guys with countless emails, and they just don't understand the process. So I don't know if this will help, but we have to try to do something, because I've got a stack in front of me. It's about 6 inches tall, and I think the thinnest one is about 3/4 of an inch of paperwork, trying to look through these applications. And it's not a lot of fun. It takes a good hour for me just to pre-screen before we even meet, just to try to figure out who can or cannot, or what they have, or questions, And Richard and Todd and Karen have been very helpful trying to get through this process, but maybe we can just do a little better. So just want to give you a heads up on that. Do you guys have any questions on that? And monthly update to be provided by designated board member. Karen, is that you, me, or who does that one?
Well, that's normally you, and you provided that update, I think.
Okay, see, I do stuff I don't even know.
See?
The application process, the verification of employment, Karen, and why don't you handle that one?
Well, we had been talking, to go along with what Bob was saying about the applications that come in. It appears that sometimes it's not clear, with the, the language we have in the application, which is just a small amount of language. It's not clear sometimes what we're looking for as far as the verification of employment. And a lot of times we'll get, just resumes that are notarized, or we'll get a letter that just gives the employment dates and no description of what they've done, with the company. And we were discussing maybe having a separate verification form that is a form that kind of outlines and gives spaces for the employer, previous or past, to fill in all the information. That might lead to us getting the information quicker and not having to go back 2 or 3 times and having the application, come before the working group 2 or 3 times just to get the right information from them. Because in the application, it really isn't clear what exactly we're looking for, or if it is, they're just not getting it the first time, a lot of times. So that's what that was about.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, any correspondence, Karen?
Nope.
Comments or concerns of any person present today? Again,
Hey, Bob, if I just have really a question, well, more information.
yeah,
Cammy and Bob, I guess we probably should prepare for the reciprocal license bill to come up again this next session coming up. I
yeah,
don't know what everybody's feeling is on it, but I'm hearing that there's gonna be 3 people appointed to that committee if it happens, to try to come up with some favorable language that everybody could work with. And if the names are true, it should be good for all of us. I don't know what you think about the license and reciprocal, Bob. I mean, the way they had it written last year, it certainly didn't work for me. I think the heating board were certainly a lot different than some of the other boards. If we have an individual that comes from out of state that is qualified, we try to set them up for the proper exam, whatever license category they're looking for. And the ones that don't qualify, we always tell them, hey, listen, go get these classes. Once you pass these classes and show us that you passed, we'll let you sit for the exam. I think our board's certainly a lot different than some of the other boards. Some of the other boards are too hard lined, and I think we're getting caught in the crosshairs because of them.
Mike, that's part of what we've been doing. Karen has been very diligent putting together what we think with consultations with you guys, with Richard and myself, what matches or what you need. And we're trying to have some kind of a blueprint that'll say, okay, here's where we're at. You guys in 777, if your program is a national program, then that makes it easy. And there are other licenses that doesn't work in the open shops. And, we're trying to help them out. So we've gotten a few with regards, and we're working with that. The commissioner is aware of this, and we're trying to work through some other issues. So we'll keep you guys in the loop. Reciprocity is a very sensitive subject. Some states have stuff and some states have nothing. And I've seen applications where people just take online courses that aren't even accredited and feel that they're all set to sit for the license. And just so you're aware, Karen is the one that gets beat up all the time with some of this stuff. I mean, I think we had one that was what, 8 or 10 times he submitted his application.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he attended one of the hearings and understood where we're at that we got it. And the guy wasn't a bad guy. He just didn't understand.
Right, they don't understand what we're looking for sometimes based on what's on that app, what's on the application. They don't quite understand.
And don't forget, we might have another potential problem. If that national infrastructure bill ever passes down in Congress, if anybody's read the bill, there is national reciprocal license in there.
Ugh,
Yep, which would cause
chaos.
it would just I guess we'd have to all just figure out what direction we're going in. I mean, I know on the national level, I know we're a part of it, and some of the other unions trying to talk to the Biden administration, saying, "Hey, you know what? We get what you're trying to do, but the reciprocal just doesn't work from state to state to state." And we've given them examples of kind of what we do here. I don't know. I just don't like the fact of, opening up the floodgates to hand anybody a license. If somebody certainly went to school and they're qualified and they have everything, or they have a license from another state that completely matches ours, I have no problem. I don't think anybody on this board, we have never, ever, ever denied anybody that wasn't qualified. Never.
We are very, very fortunate, gentlemen, that we were able to sit and talk and face reality and saying, hey, what is fair? What is reasonable? It's not a perfect society. If we can get them close, then it's fine. But I national reciprocity, oh boy.
Yeah, it's in the infrastructure bill. Trust me.
Mike, I'm sure our people brought up the fact, look at what happened in Texas.
Oh yeah, dude, no, there's a lot of discussion, but from what I understand, he's being really hardlined on it.
That doesn't surprise me.
But I don't think they're going to pass it anyways. That's just my thing. I think they're gridlocked down there once again.
And just my thoughts on reciprocity. If we ever went to it in the state of Connecticut, if we are going to allow somebody from another state that has all the qualifications to come in and just hand them a license without taking a test, then we do that for every apprentice that graduated from the state of Connecticut program.
Yeah, I don't listen. I still think they should. The state would be crazy to do it that way because they're going to miss out on more revenue. You should be able to sit for an exam and pass it. I mean, I don't agree with handing out a license to anybody.
No, I agree with you. I don't ever want to see it, but if it ever does come to it, we got to treat our apprentices the same as we would somebody coming from out of state that has the qualifications. My opinion.
Well, just another day in paradise, gentlemen.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Bob and Cammy, we what we ought to do. Just, maybe right after the holidays, early January, we should just have a conference call amongst a couple of us and try to all get on the same page how we're gonna proceed with this, because you're gonna see it come up again.
Definitely.
Okay, we'll take that under advisement. I think that we need to be proactive and prepared just to make sure that what the most brilliant minds in the world think is right may not work.
Yep. And the bill that you were talking about too, maybe we should, talk more about that, because that certainly affects all my service contractors. In a perfect world, like you said, yeah, you might be able to do that, but you're on one job, all of a sudden you got an emergency, you got a supermarket where all their meat coolers went down. That takes higher priority when you got $40,000 worth of meat that's got to be cooled. I mean, I don't know how you fill out those forms every single day.
Well, look at the bright side, Mike. The shelves in the stores are starting to be empty, so it may not be that big a deal.
Well, it might be good for me. Maybe I could start losing some weight.
All right.
Pandemic treated me very well, Bob.
All right. Any other comments, guys? John, you're all set? You're comfortable?
Yes, sir.
All right, Cammy, you get better. Any other comments? We're all set?
The only thing I will tell you, last year when that 6100 came up, there was talk about exempting service because of emergencies. But anyway, when it got passed, it was never the right verbiage in there, but we can work on it and see what we can do to make it sensible.
That would be great. Okay, gentlemen, thank you to all for attending. This meeting is adjourned. You guys all be safe. We'll talk, okay?
Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.